there are many things I like. At times it can be difficult to decide what to do or where to go when starting something new. But this may be a good topic to start. Before moving forward, I would like to say that I am not very good editing videos. I don't have the best microphone. I'm actually using my iPhone and then editing in my computer. So I am trying to edit both video and audio. But despite the difficulties, I like this. I like the discussions. I like what YouTube has provided, even though I may not be the biggest fan of YouTube itself. I like many independent creators in many topics that they discuss, like movies, sports, and even politics. So for now, I think YouTube is the best place to have these types of discussions that are not too short, not limited to the soundbite. And at least for now, this is the best place to be. Now with that said, we can move on. One of the things that I like the most is football, as some people might know it. In American English, soccer. That's another discussion we might have in the future. But regardless, we're not here for that today. I believe we were very lucky in witnessing this window to what perhaps is the best football, I'm just going to call it football, to the best national team football in the world. Now, we can discuss this too. This is the point of this video or this channel. This is my intention when I'm doing all this. Now the new qualifying stage is coming for South America and all the other confederations around the world. It might be a good time to explore some issues like the draw that South America does and the other confederations do, to review some history behind all this as well. We might review, for example, why America as a whole, as a continent, does not do the entire territory to qualify for the World Cup. Mexico, look out if that happens. And the US too. We can also review why Europe, some teams are there that are not part of Europe, right? The same happens in Asia. Now that Australia moved not too long ago to Asia, even though they belong to another continent. So those are all interesting discussions that we may have. But for now, let's stay with the Copa America. The Copa America is allegedly the oldest tournament for national teams in the world. It was started 103 years ago, as we might know from people that watched the Copa America Centenario. Now, without going much further, I have to stop here and say that football has given me much joy in the last 4 or 5 years. I am from Chile. Even though we had to wait a long time for this, we finally were able to win not only one Copa America, but 2. The day finally came.
Así te queríamos ver, Alexi. Así, en esta posición, le va a pegar Alexis. Gol.
Está el gato. ¡Gol de Chile! ¡Gol! Chile es campeón. Chile es campeón de la Centenario esta tarde.
After watching the Copa in Brazil, which was a decent cup, and I don't have many problems with Brazil being the champion, but regardless, there are some questions that arise about the games being predetermined by either CONMEBOL or FIFA, when they say, for example, the first team of Group A must play with the second team of Group B, or the first team of Group B must play with the second team of Group A. There's some sort of a predetermination that can be avoidable, and there is an easy solution to this problem. Just as we can talk about VAR or VAR, if it's necessary or if it's not necessary, if some referees have abused it, or many problems that could appear with it. And spoiler alert, the Premier League, the English Premier League, is going to use VAR starting this season, so that will be an interesting thing to see as well and maybe talk about it in the future. We can also think about this sort of predetermination of games. So a proposed solution to this, it's about checking the performance of the teams in the group stage and ordering those teams in the second round following that performance. In the case of the just finished Copa America, we can see what the table shows. We have the 8 best teams, starting with Colombia, then we have Brazil, then we have Uruguay, then Chile, then Venezuela, then Argentina, then Peru, and finally Paraguay. As we can see, this doesn't change things dramatically, but it does provide one criterion of meritocracy to the classification of teams in the second round. This way, we can also forget about external influences like history of a team or the FIFA ranking of a team. The FIFA ranking is another thing that we might talk about in the future as well. And we can focus our attention exclusively on the performance of each team in this cup, in just the merits and the talents of each team. Now, with these 4 new matchups, I wanted to take this exercise all the way to the end. So what I did was simulate these matchups. For this, I used a very low resource webpage, but one that is very good. This webpage is called foodiesimulator.co.uk. That, like its name says, it simulates football games. In the free version, you can simulate up to 99 games for international teams. And that's precisely what I did. And to choose one of those results, I used the page random.org that randomizes a selected range, and the number that was selected within those 99 results, that's the result I chose to show. So the winners of this first part of the second round were the first 4 teams. So we had Colombia, Brazil, Uruguay, and Chile advancing. Some had more problems than others, but they all made it. Now, the classification for the semifinals follows the same criteria as before. Since we had 1 through 4 and the teams that made it to the semifinals, it made sense just to make 1 play 4 and 2 play 3. So we have Colombia playing Chile and Uruguay playing Brazil. The teams that lost this time were Chile and the host, Brazil. To much dismay, I believe, and reliving some demons from the past. I just realized I care so little about the 3rd and 4th place game that I didn't even simulate it. You can try to do that yourselves. Now, the final match was between Colombia and Uruguay, and Colombia were the winners of the Copa America. This change and this way of proceeding does not alter the ordering of the games much. You don't lose the emotion, and you arguably win in transparency. This method reflects more justice because it doesn't show any preference towards the host or towards an important team or a better ranked team. Put simply, if a team has a good performance in the cup, they should be rewarded. If you're the best qualified team, you should be playing with the worst qualified team. This improvement, along with others that may appear, they can all help with the spectacle, and that's the intention of it all. We can talk about VAR or VAR in another instance. We can also talk about other confederations. We can talk about the impending draw of CONMEBOL. So there are many things to be talking about. They're happening soon as well. And we can even talk about the process of the World Cup in Qatar. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this World Cup. There are many things that have been happening behind the scenes. But let's go slowly about this. There have been many times where I've thought about things, and I've thought deeply about them, and I've written about them or commented about them, but I've never really done anything about it. I think this is a good chance to start doing things. Now, if you like this, you can share it. If you have other ideas, you can share those as well. You can tell me if you like this video, if you liked my editing work or the music that's playing. Hopefully I'm not breaking any rules here, any copyright infringement. I am putting all the sources that I'm getting the stuff from. The interest is fair use, is not to claim anything. That goes without saying. And before finishing, there are other ideas that I'm thinking about at the moment. Time is limited, however, but we'll see what happens. For now, thank you very much for watching this video.
Chile with an opportunity to advance, and who else? Who else would it be than Alexis Sanchez?
Well, they are hoping for divine intervention. The fans of the Cafeteros. Alexis Sanchez, who's scored twice already in this Copa America. Against his former teammate, Ospina, and Sanchez tucks it home and sends Chile into another Copa America semi-final. Colombia